Texas GOP Chairman Abraham George, thank you so much and welcome back to Eye on Politics.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So the Texas GOP has now announced that it intends to sue the state of Texas to close the Republican primaries. It's not something you hear about every day where the Republican Party sues the state, which is dominated by Republicans. So what's going on here and why did it come to this?
Well, the Republican Party of Texas, we wanted to have a close primaries for many, many years now. So we've had this as a priority, as a part of platform for many cycles, and we expected our legislators to take care of this at the legislative session. In the last convention that was held in San Antonio in 2024 convention, about 10,000 people delegation came together and said, we're going to change our rules to have the Republican primaries closed. And we had about three bills in the last legislative session that we liked and we expected it to pass. But unfortunately, that did not happen. So we are left with an option that is to sue the state. It's really not against any specific elected official. The state law does not allow us to have a closed primary, so we're just trying to get the court to tell us that, hey, yeah, the Republican Party of Texas have the right to have a closed primaries, and we have the right to associate with the people that we believe are Republicans. So that's the idea.
So legally, you think that a judge can decide this, or is it a case where the judges say you got to get the law changed through the legislature?
No, there is other states who's done this in the past, including some Republican states. So this is done. This has happened before with other states. So we believe the lieutenant governor, the governor, the attorney general, they have to uphold the law that is put together by the legislator. But a court can say, that the law is unconstitutional when it comes to Republican Party. They have the right to have their primaries closed if they choose to have it. So we are expecting our statewide leaders to be on our side on this, and there are some talks going on about that, but we're not anywhere near to have a conversation yet.
I was just going to ask you if, the attorney general or, the senators, the governor, the lieutenant governor, do they support the party's effort on this? Did they support legislation?
I think they do. I've talked to Attorney General before about this, and this was part of a larger conversation at the convention where many of them attended. Lieutenant Governor was there. Governor Greg Abbott came on a video call, so they understand this. Governor always sends someone to the SREC meeting. And so it's not a secret. We've been working on this for a while, and party finally came to a place. Okay, the session is over. We've got to get this done. And the SREC, the State Republican Executive Committee that met this weekend in Austin, decided to go forward with the litigation.
And why is it so important to the party that there be closed primaries?
Good question. So Republican Party is basically the governing party in the state of Texas, and we come to a point a lot of times that there are legislators who get elected by Republican under the Republican banner, but a lot of times they get elected by Democrats because the Democrats like to choose the weakest Republican and put them in the nomination process. We're not saying this is not real election. This is a nomination process for our name, our ballot. So the real election happens in November. But this has been working against us, our principles, our priorities, and I'll give you an example. Dade Phelan, who was his former speaker, won by 366 votes in the last election cycle, who stood against Republican priorities and principles and our platform openly in the 88th legislative session. He had almost 3,000 Democrats move over in his election to get him elected. Otherwise, his opponent would have won that election. So There is a reason why the party is frustrated with this process of any Democrat can come and choose the Republican nominee and find the weakest Republican or even a liberal and put them on the our ballot under our name, and we had to work to get them elected. So we're kind of done with that. So we want real conservatives, real Republicans who will uphold the party's principles and our priorities.
What impact do you think that's going to have in 2026? Because, as you know, we've already got a contentious GOP primary for U.S. Senate between Senator Cornyn and the Attorney General.
I don't know if there's going to be a huge difference. It's going to make any big difference in that election itself, but I don't know. I haven't looked at any of the numbers. This is not specific to any specific election, including 2026 primaries. What we are trying to do is which is something we've been working on for close to a decade to close our primaries. We believe only Republicans should choose Republican nominees,
But
then put them on the ballot for the November election, and then the people, everyone, will get to choose who is going to be the elected official. This is like, if I'm a huge Cowboys fan, and I'm sure you are too, and it's like Eagles choosing the Cowboys quarterback. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you have the opposing team choose your nominees? So that's the problem we have, and that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing this.
For the record, I am a Cowboys fan. But let me ask you, as far as the March 2026 primary. So if this court case, these legal cases usually take a long time, right? So that being said, what impact do you think, if this is not in, will have on the March 2026 primary?
Well, I don't think any statewide elections will have a major impact on, and if it didn't happen by 26 primary, we are expecting it to happen before that. Our legal team, our believes that we can make it happen over the next few months. If it doesn't happen, it will. I think what were the most impactful elections will be the down ballot elections like House reps, maybe even like county commissioners, county judges, the partisan races, but more local elections in a way. Those will have a huge impact that they can still have Democrats come over and put a Republican nominee on the ballot for the November election. But the statewide, it's very partisan, very well-known elections. So most of the time, that's not the case for those.
Is there any scenario that you and the party have considered in which possibly it could hurt the Republicans? I mean, are there independents out there who lean Republican and who count on voting in the Republican primary, even though they may not consider themselves formally Republicans?
Well, I mean, Jack, you got to see there are other states who choose their nominee at their convention. They don't even have a primary. There are states who will have it on their caucus. So we're not even saying that. We could do that and have 10,000 people make that choice instead of the entire state of Texas. We're not saying that. We want people to be on our side. And most independents these days, because of how radical Democrats have become, are Republicans now, and they want to be Republicans. We saw some study recently. We did this properly, and see a lot of people, especially in South Texas area, they want to be Republicans now. They didn't. We flipped about 12 out of the 14 counties in the last cycle from Democrat to Republican. Those people want to be known as Republican. They are Trump Republicans. They are conservative Republicans who is moving away from the Democrat Party. So I don't think this is a problem. I think they would love to have the name, because today anybody could say they're Republican, and there is no registry, there is no membership, there is no record of you being a Republican other than your last voting record. So this will make them a real Republican. We'll give them a banner, a name ID saying, "Hey, I'm a Republican. I'm a registered Republican in the state of Texas, which is one of the dark red Republican state in the entire nation." So people are excited about this.
And as far as cost, I know the state reimburses the parties for running the primaries, right?
Yes.
Under this scenario, would that change? In other words, would Republicans lose state funding because they closed their primaries, or no?
No, I don't think so. What we are asking is asking the court is to tell the Secretary of State to have a one more field in the voter registration uh, application. That is to allow the Republicans to check a box and say, I'm a registered Republican. That's it. If Democrats want it, they can have it as well. We don't care if they have it or not. If you're an independent, don't check either one of those boxes or have an independent box. Green Party, Libertarians, there's a bunch of parties, and then you can be whatever you want in those check boxes. And if you choose not to, that's fine. You still get to choose a Republican in November ballot. So we're not really rebuilding the entire primary structure. We're just asking the SOS to add one more field. That's it, one more field to the voter registration roll that says, if you're a Republican, check this box and we will let you vote, cast a ballot in the Republican primary. That's it.
We talked a little bit about legislation that obviously didn't pass during the regular session, and Governor Abbott now has to consider whether he's going to call a special session. Have you had conversations? Are you encouraging, are you pushing the governor, is the party pushing the governor to have a special session on this and other topics?
On this specific issue, I don't think we are because we're not, mainly because we don't see the legislators doing enough to get this done properly. They had all the chance in the world with 89th session, 88th session. This has been, like I said earlier, been a fight, a real issue for the party for a long time. We are asking governor to have a special session, and that is on property tax reform, that is on bail reform. That is a huge issue for both the party and for governor. We're talking about a redistricting. We're asked him to have a redistricting effort to go around for the congressional districts. um, there's a couple other things like life protection of life, things like that as well. So we have a resolution that passed the last SREC meeting that is asking or requesting the governor to consider for a special session, which we've been told that most likely will happen.
And who's telling you that?
Not the governor. I haven't talked to the governor,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I'm I'm
So,
just I'm just I'm
so
just hearing from the grapevine, I guess is the
I
right way
got
to
you. I
say
got you.
it.
So let me follow up on a couple of those issues real quick if I can. As far as redistricting is concerned, this is what I mean. We read there was a New York Times report that said President Trump wanted Governor Abbott to call a special session so that state lawmakers can go in and redraw congressional districts in Texas before the 2026 midterm election. Is that what you're supporting, or do you want all of the state Senate and state House districts redrawn as well?
No, we're just looking for the congressional districts at this point. We like to see that. I think that there is a real uh, way to do that, and I'm sure President Trump is on board with that. As you know, there is a federal ruling that we do have the right to go and redraw based on political subdivisions. So we can do that properly, and I'm sure Democrats are going to get upset and do whatever they do always. But this is a real good option for the Republican Party and for the next congressional cycle. So we're hoping and we're asking and we're expecting governor to do that.
I mean, isn't part of the problem you need quorum? The legislature, the House especially needs quorum, and there aren't 100 Republicans to do that. So isn't that going to be an issue? The
Well,
Democrats aren't going to want to show up to, oversee, losing congressional districts, right?
yeah, there's 88 Republicans. We just need 12 Democrats, and I think we can get 12 Democrats.
What? How?
I think that's part of the process, right? I mean, there is a lot of things they would probably want, and with the special session, governor can make that happen. I'm sure that a lot of negotiations are happening behind the scenes on this. Um, That's pretty much all I can say. I do want to say, I mean, this is not a new thing. There are other states. There is a Democrat state who is very aggressively redistricting. There's a Republican state who is talking about it. So this is not very isolated to state of Texas. This is happening all over the country. Um, and I think the Texas have the right to do that as well. And we'll see how that goes out, that plays out.
Two other questions. One, just on this special session, because I mean, the governor has signed the property tax relief bills. That happened just this week up in North Texas in Denton County. And he also signed a bail reform bill down in Harris County in Houston. He didn't get everything that he wanted as far as bail reform. And so, talk to me, what is it that the party still would like to see as it relates to property tax reform and bail reform?
Well, the property tax, I've got to say, we had a reasonable session on property tax. You know, the homestead exemption went from 140,000 to 200,000 for seniors. And, you know, we did a lot of good things on those, and especially on the business personal property and things like that. Uh, Jack, the thing is, the truth is, we can have all these political jargon all we want, but you and I know if you own a home, over the past couple of decades, the property tax have skyrocketed, and local entities such as the school board, city councils keep saying that they're lowering your tax, and the states buying down your tax by using the surplus. And at the end of the day, every Texan have to pay more taxes in dollars, and and we have people who are elderly and who are disabled getting kicked out of their homes because of they cannot afford to pay property tax. That is not Texan. That's not a Republican thing to do, especially when we are in control. So we have to do better. Um, the party's platform asks for an abolition, get rid of the entire property tax and come up with a new stream of revenue, and cut the government in half or more, that so we won't keep spending money on things that it doesn't matter. Uh, so party would like to see that, and that's the reason we are looking for a call on property tax reform as well. If this doesn't happen this cycle, I think that will be a major talking point for the next election cycle, which we don't want to see. So, party have a vested interest in this. I'm sure Governor does as well. He's on the ballot. So is all of our candidates, Lieutenant Governor, all the congressional members and Senate, and everyone else is on the ballot. And we need to do better. And we're working to get there. The bail reform side, yes, we got some. Again, we didn't get all of that. Governor wanted a much stronger bill, and he got some of that. And he cannot tell any Texan that, when you have people who are committing crime, heinous crimes, and being able to get released on a $500 or $1,000 bail, going back and committing the same crime or worse. Uh, Bail reform is not a Republican issue. It's a Texas issue. So is property tax. So some of these things have to happen, and I think Governor will consider calling a special session on those. Again, it's up to him. He has the full power to do that. He has the full power to put whatever the subjects that he wants on the special session as well. So we're waiting to see how this all going to play out.
My last question to you, and appreciate all the time, is the THC ban, Senate Bill 3 that passed. There's been a lot of pushback by conservatives, by veterans against this bill. And obviously, the governor is going to have to decide if he's going to veto it, sign it, or let it go into law without his signature. And I asked him this week what he's going to do. And of course, he wouldn't answer me. But my question to you is, what are you recommending? What does the party have a position on this bill? And what do you make of the pushback by conservatives? I saw a poll today that shows, most people in Texas oppose this bill. So what's your thought on all this?
Jack, party haven't really taken a public position on this. This was not one of our priorities, and I think the governor will give all the due diligence and respect to that bill as he should before he consider vetoing it or even passing it. I don't know what he's going to do. It's up to the governor. Both the chamber, House and the Senate passed this bill pretty much overwhelmingly, and it's up to the governor to make that decision. It's really not something the party got involved even during the session. So we're going to stay out of it and let the governor make his decision.
Just as far as, the fact that it's divided conservatives, what do you make of that?
It always happens with, bills like this, and we've seen this over and over again in many sessions. None of that is end of the world. I mean, we see we made rulings and bills that are we came back and fixed it later. So I mean, it's nothing is permanent because we have a legislator that keeps going back every 2 years, right? So there may be a ban this time. Maybe we'll come back and fix it or regulate it next time, or there may not be a ban. It's up to the governor and the legislators to do that. And since this is not a huge issue for the party's platform, and I'm not elected to have an opinion on everything else in the world, so I'm going to stay out of this one.
All right, we will leave it at that. Texas GOP Chairman Abraham George, thank you so much as always. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
You bet.